Here, and I'm gonna do a quick video. I don't know how quick it's gonna be, it's off the cuff, but I want to share with you the good, the bad, and the ugly about using AI phone assistants in your business. And so I am very much a person, like, I believe that every business owner should be empowered with enough information that they can make an educated decision on whether, you know, this particular thing, A or B, is actually good for them or not. And so hopefully in this video, I'll give you enough information that you can kind of see and adjust and set some expectations if this is a path that you want to go. So, hey, thanks so much for stopping on this channel. Now, if you like this content and would like to see more, go ahead, hit the subscribe button below this video. If you like, that way you can stay up to date on all the industry changes and all the goodies that we have. Thanks so much. Now to your regularly scheduled video. What am I talking about? What is an AI phone assistant, right? So an AI phone or voice assistant, you might hear it called a lot of different things, but essentially it is an assistant that can take inbound or make outbound calls on the behalf of you and your company. The number one perk is going to be, well, not number one, but up there, right? It's going to be the affordability, right? You know, with the AI assistant, there might be a setup fee, but long term, it's going to be way more cost effective. If you're at a point where you cannot hire an admin, it's really good. Or if you're looking for after hours coverage, compared to a lot of answering services, it can be a fraction of the cost. And you get 24/7 coverage. And so that's the next benefit, is you literally get 24/7, 365 coverage of your phones. And so that's if you want, right? So you can use it as your primary answering source, or you could use it only for after hours or maybe for phone calls that you can't catch, right? So there's a lot of flexibility in that. The other benefit is the consistency, right? That it's going to pick up the phone. You know what I mean? You don't have to worry about people calling and it ringing for 2 or 3 minutes, which that actually happens sometimes too with phone services, right? Like answering services, they got to rate 2 or 3 minutes and they may or may not still get someone answer the phone, right? This one, it's going to answer within the first, 1 to 2 rings. Boom. Hey, thank you for calling ABC Company. How can I help you today? Right? So that's one of the perks. One of the other perks is consistency and training, right? So the way it works is we actually learn about your business and your company. We're in the home service industry, so we know a lot already. And so you don't even have to tell us a lot of information. If we know the services you offer, your hours that you're there, and just some basic frequently asked questions, we can turn that into a prompt or into a training that we can train your phone assistant, right? So that it can look, feel, and sound, and we can even train it on the tonality. Like if you're kind of a laid back company, we could say, hey, use a casual laid back tone. If you're super professional, you can say, hey, your tone is going to be super professional, right? And so there's a lot of things that you can do there, and it's very, very dynamic that we can do. Okay, so those are a lot of the strong points. It can be empathetic, guys. Like, it's really, really cool. Like, if you haven't seen some of my other videos that I'm posting around here, check them out, because it's really, really cool. Okay, so those are some of the good things. I'm gonna be 100% transparent and share with you some of the not so good things, right? Number one is, like, it doesn't always go perfect, right? The phone calls do not always go perfect. When you first launch your AI phone assistant, there's gonna be scenarios that might pop up that we didn't train it on. And so what we do is we train it to say, hey, don't answer anything you have not been trained on. If you have a question you do not know the answer for, take a message, get the name, phone number, email, and let them know that we will pass their message on to the team, and the team can handle it. Okay, so that is number one. Like, there are legitimately times where it can be caught off guard. Now, we can do as best as we can, but I want to set that expectation right there. One of the other concerns that we have is, like, sometimes I've talked to business owners and they're like, I don't know how people in my area will adapt to it. Okay, and that is a legitimate concern. And so one of my clients, when we set this up, we says, hey, like, if I were to hire someone from the Philippines or from here, from there, right? Like, they're going to run into hiccups too. They're going to get friction. right? So most times when you remove yourself from answering the phone, so like if you're a solo person, right? When you remove yourself from answering the phone, there's gonna be friction. So we may as well have friction in a manner that is scalable, right? And so that's kind of how we did it. And so there's other things we can do too to help with that. So for example, the voice, like one thing I noticed with one client is that if like sometimes male voices work better, or sometimes a female voice will work better. If you have a older client base, you want to choose a tone that sounds more mature than one that sounds young, right? So there's little tweaks that can be done to help with that. And it's also one of those things too that like you just have to do and experience and see. Like once you hear that people will go through the process, you feel more confident in it. And the other thing that we do too is, especially if it's an inbound call, is we let them know up front that, hey, this is an AI voice assistant. If at any point you want to speak to a human, like let me know, and we'll definitely transfer you, or we can take a message. So that's kind of how we balance, you know, those two kind of situations out with that situation. Let me kind of think. Sometimes when you, like I said, when you first launch, it's not going to be perfect right away, right? So it might be that you want to launch initially only after hours. So that way we can test it. You know, there's going to be glitches, right? When I mean glitches, it could be like, hey, you didn't get like the proper notification of ABC, right? And so then we go in and we tweak it, right? So it's very much, it's almost like I said, just like training someone, right? Like it's not gonna be perfect. If you're coming on saying, hey, AI, I'm gonna launch it in 24 hours and it's gonna be perfect, it's not for you. Please don't do it, right? Think of it as if you hired a new person. They're not gonna get it right away, right? You have to give them time. You have to train them. You might have to listen to some call recordings and say, hey, here's what we could say in this situation for it to be better, right? So you kind of have to look at it as, you know, AI, you have to train it as if you're talking to an 8-year-old kid, right? And AI is constantly moving. And so that being said, another thing that is not necessarily a con, but something you need to be aware of, is that technology is changing so fast. Like ChatGPT, which is behind a lot of what we're using, and all these other different elements, not just ChatGPT, but there's a ton of them, right? Like they are coming out with more advanced models, and as more advanced models for handling the actual assistant part of it, as those get upgraded, we might have to be tweaks. So what that means is that there has to be a little bit of maintenance, right? And so it's not going to be a one-off cost, right? Like it's going to be, you know, whether you go through me or another software company or another service or like that, you're going to have times where they're going to have to do maintenance. And so therefore you're going to have to pay a monthly fee, because essentially on the back end, you need a team that just eats, sleeps, and breathes this stuff that can, you know, make these adjustments for you as they're needed. And so that's kind of the good, bad, and the ugly. I think I got it all. If I haven't, I'm sure I'll make another video for it. But again, I just wanted to let you be aware of some of these things. A lot of business owners that I talk to, they, you know, they might have an answering service and they're not happy with the answering service, or they're paying too much for an answering service. Like, so depending on the systems, softwares, and the complexities that you want, it's all about having like the proper expectations with, you know, how happy you're going to be. And so hopefully this video helped clear up some things. I'll do another video that kind of breaks down what is all goes on behind the scenes, you know, because there's a lot involved. It's not just about the AI phone assistant, right? It's about what softwares do you have? Like, do you want just the email notification of the call notes? Like, is that enough for you? Or do you want to, you know, connect the notifications to your CRM? Do you want to pass that information on automatically? Even when it comes to the bot itself, you have to write the training or the prompt, right? You have to know how to do automations. You have to know how to troubleshoot. And so there's a lot of things that kind of go on in the back end to making it really successful, right? And so hopefully, like I said, this video gives you a little bit more insight, a little bit more detail. And yeah, so if this is something that you're interested in, the way that I work is that we have a setup fee and then there's a monthly fee. Usually it's the cost per minute plus a low monthly fee is kind of rolled in for maintenance, right? Because it's going to be myself, and then we have a team that kind of goes in and routinely checks these things. We keep our ear, to the technology boards, right, to make sure that we're doing the best output that we can for you. So that's how it works. If you want more information, please, again, somewhere around this video, up, down, all around, feel free to reach out to me, and we'd be more than happy to help. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next video.